It's 12-12. You're under arrest on suspicion of murder against Jonathan McCulloch and Elias McCulloch. Okay?
Welcome to Dark True Crime. Virginia McCulloch knew why the police had smashed through her front door, but part of her wondered why it took them so long to discover she had murdered her parents.
You don't have to say anything, but in my home defence, you do not mention when in question, so much like want anything to do something with the evidence. Okay? Alright, your arrest is necessary for a point of
Is there anything in the pocket we should know about?
Yes, there is. Can I take you to it?
No, you can tell me.
In September 2023, and after their daughter had canceled a number of medical appointments on their behalf, John and Lois McCullough's GP contacted the safeguarding team at Essex County Council to raise concerns about the couple's welfare. The GP's concern had also been aroused because John McCullough had failed to collect a regular prescription. The council subsequently contacted Essex police to report the doctor's concerns, doing so on September 13, 2023. Initially treating the case as a missing persons investigation, officers then spoke to McCullough, who told them her parents were traveling and would be returning in October. However, officers became suspicious about their absence. On September 15th, Essex police executed a search warrant at the McCullough property, breaking into the house and arresting McCullough. McCullough then confessed to murdering her parents, telling officers, "I did know that this day would come eventually. I deserve to get what's coming sentence-wise because that's the right thing to do, and then that might give me a bit of peace." She also attempted to joke with investigators, and at one point told them to cheer up, adding, "At least you caught the bad guy." During questioning, McCullough told investigators how she had beaten her mother to death, telling officers the act was like someone badly playing the xylophone or something. She also told detectives the location of a knife she had used as a murder weapon, as well as a hammer that she said will still have blood on it.
My dad's body's in there.
Right, okay.
Yep, okay. Obviously I'll
What about
say,
your mum?
a little bit more complicated. Upstairs there were about 5 wardrobes.
Yep.
It's behind the bed, but back next to the sink. That's the second one. I've slipped 5 of those into his drink. There were about 2 or 3 drinks that I brought downstairs. When I went in the morning, early hours, I got up about half an hour early, about 6 o'clock in the morning. Came in and he was gone. I did know that this would kind of come eventually. It's proper that I serve my punishment.
Right, so I've written this, please. I, Virginia McCulloch, have informed Police Constables 77329 Brown and 79387 Bowers after entering my house on Friday the 15th September 2023 that I murdered my father, John McCulloch, who was stated was under a bed in the rear ground floor of the house, and my mother upstairs in a cupboard next to the sink.
Wardrobe. It's a double wardrobe.
Right, okay, I've written
Double
cupboard.
wardrobe. It's like 4 wardrobe doors, but it's the one nearest the sink. Double wardrobe.
Pick up then.
Yeah.
What's significant as I've written down there here now, I've just read out to you. Are you happy to sign that, to say that's a true account?
Yeah. Cheer up, at least you caught the bad guy.
I've just woken up today and done my job. No.
No, well, I mean, I deserve to obviously get whatever's coming sentence-wise, because that's the right thing to do. And that might give me a bit of peace.
When police raided the property, it was not the first time they had visited. Weeks prior to the discovery of the bodies, McCullough invited officers inside to discuss an allegation of an assault against her. Only she knew the intent of this call, but some believed she was testing the water. Ultimately, the assault allegation came to nothing. McCullough was more forthcoming when officers returned in September 2023. "I did know that this day would come eventually," she confessed. "I deserve to get what's coming sentence-wise because that's the right thing to do, and then that might give me a bit of peace." She didn't stop there. For 4 years, Virginia lived alongside their corpses, keeping up the facade of their lives to the outside world. The question remains, how did she hide this brutal secret for so long? The truth is both deeply unsettling and eerily calculated. The case of betrayal, lies, and murder leaves behind an unsettling aftermath that nobody saw coming. It's a story that reads like a horror film, but for Virginia McCullough, this nightmare was of her own making.
So, murder weapon is upstairs in the toilet room, kitchen knife, it's in the middle of the brown carpet, against the wall, opposite the shelves, so there are two long white shelves, so opposite where that wall is, that's where the knife is. So, next bit is very hard to talk about. That's probably the most grisly detail. So, on the ground floor, underneath the stairs, there's a few like storage boxes and things. And in the middle, I think it's in one of the boxes or in a bag or something. If you want me to shush after this, it's fine. But every bit helps. You will find forensic bits helpful. There's a hammer. I know, but I'm trying to help so you find everything. It's in the middle, underneath the stairs. It will still have blood on it. It's rusted, but it will still have blood traces on it. So not cooperating is futile.
Yeah.
There's no point in not cooperating, there really isn't. And plus, apart from which anyway, I should take what I've done. That's the result of the win, I think. So.
John McCullough, a retired business studies lecturer who had worked at Anglia Ruskin University, was 70 at the time of his death, while his wife, Lois, was 71. Both were in poor health at the time of their deaths and relied on their daughter as a caregiver. John McCullough had hypertension, type 2 diabetes, hypercholesterolemia, and glaucoma, while Lois McCullough had agoraphobia and traits of obsessive-compulsive disorder. The couple had 5 daughters, of which Virginia was the youngest. In 2019, Virginia McCullough had been living rent-free at her parents' property on Pump Hill, Great Badow, and had told them she was studying to become an artist, claiming the career would be financially rewarding to the family. In reality, McCullough ran up large credit card debts in her parents' name and told them they had lost money to scams. By the time of the murders, McCullough had built up almost £60,000 worth of debt and had forged letters to cover her tracks. McCullough's sisters have described her as socially awkward and a compulsive liar. McCullough began planning her parents' murder in March 2019, accumulating a large amount of prescription drugs, and in May 2019 bought a knife, along with implements to crush up the medication. For on June 17, 2019, and having previously used her father as a guinea pig, she prepared a cocktail of prescription drugs, which she then gave to her parents. John McCullough, whose medication was crushed into an alcoholic drink, received a dosage strong enough to murder him, but Lois McCullough, who did not drink alcohol, did not consume a fatal dose. After finding her father dead in bed the next morning, and fearing that her mother would find out what she had done, McCullough then murdered Lois, bludgeoning and stabbing her to death while she lay in bed listening to the radio. McCullough then went to her local GP practice to seek treatment for a cut on her hand, which she had sustained while murdering her mother. She later drove into Chelmsford to purchase plastic gloves and sleeping bags using her father's credit card, then returned home, where she set about concealing their remains. She created a makeshift mausoleum consisting of breeze blocks and sleeping bags in her father's downstairs study, where his body was stored, then concealed her mother's body in an upstairs wardrobe, wrapping it in a sleeping bag. On June 19th, McCullough posed as her mother in order to obtain a new credit card and PIN, then used the card to purchase clothes and jewelry. She went on to construct a series of elaborate stories to explain her parents' absence to relatives and doctors, including that they were on lengthy holidays, were unwell, or had retired and moved from the area. She also deceived relatives by sending birthday cards, gifts, and text messages that kept up the pretense that they were still alive. She continued to live in the house alongside her parents' remains, while claiming their state pensions and gambling 21,193 pounds of their money away through online betting sites, as well as selling assets from the property. It would later be disclosed that she had benefited to the sum of 149,697 pounds. Conveniently for McCullough, the deception was also helped by restrictions brought in as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which began in 2020. During the court hearing, it was alleged that McCullough was actively engaged in fraud and deception well before the murders, and that McCullough and her parents were all in debt. Following the murders, her attention switched to deceiving the outside world. The hearing was told that McCullough continued to receive John's teacher's pension and spend it, and that transcripts from calls even show her masquerading as her father. She used their credit cards and opened further accounts in their names. The court also heard that 2 days after the murders, McCullough placed an order with B&Q for 40 building blocks, cement, and sharp sand. A number of further items, including gorilla tape and a stepladder, were subsequently ordered. Wilding described the structure containing John McCullough's remains as being in a corner of the room, with its sides composed of masonry blocks stacked together and secured with white filler, forming a rectangular tomb with the end closest to the internal door composed of panels of wood. The hearing was also told the structure was covered with multiple blankets and a number of pictures and paintings over the top. The body itself was wrapped in a sleeping bag and concealed with at least 11 layers of plastic and other material. Wilding described the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting limited medical contact as a stroke of luck in pursuing the deception. Following her arrest, McCullough had alleged her parents were abusive, but the claims were rejected by her siblings, who described them as lies and a disgusting misrepresentation of our family. McCullough was sentenced to life imprisonment. The judge told her she had robbed her parents of dignity in death. Your conduct amounted to a gross violation of the trust that should exist between parents and their children. He ordered that she must serve a minimum of 36 years in prison before being considered for parole. She will become eligible to be considered for parole on October 3rd, 2059. And let me know what you think. Leave your comment below. Click that like button and the notification bell. We upload videos every week. Take care.